The Ryan Ries Show from Southern California. This is The Ryan Ries Show. Post your questions using @Ryan Ries on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Are you ready?
All right. Well, today's going to be an amazing show because I got Kurtis Hoppie back in studio. You guys know him. He's a musician, an artist. He does hip hop. He does trap. He does pop. It's all the albums and all the songs he put out. There's a fusion of all this style of music, but this is basically what every artist in these genres put out anyway now. Yeah. It's funny because I was going through. I was trying to find Christian like electronic and trap, and I came across this one artist, and I forget his name, but this was the hardest trap song I think I've ever heard in my life. Washed by the blood. It was washed. Have you heard that?
Oh yeah, Caleb. Yeah.
Is that Caleb?
Yeah.
I was just flipping through, and like he popped up, and I was like, dude, that song is gnarly.
Yeah.
I sent it to Head, I sent it to Sunny Nose guys, and they were like, dang, that was sick. But I'm not a big trap guy, but I love the bass lines in trap. Mm-hmm. I love the bass lines. So
yeah, that dude's so fire, man. He's me and him, we text here, and we're supposed to do a song. We just haven't came together and done it yet. But
where's he located?
I don't know. Just somewhere in my cell phone at the moment.
I like that. Yeah. Scoot a little bit more on the mic so we can get you. All right. Well, look at Kurtis. Last time I seen you, man, was and I want to plug this too. You're all over TikTok. You got Instagram. I mean, a lot of your videos went viral. You being in an Uber, showing people your tracks and having them sing along, and really cool stuff. And you're getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of views on TikTok and stuff. So
yeah, TikTok, Instagram Reels,
your stuff's going
Reels,
viral.
Yeah.
So a lot of you guys that are listening would know him if you saw his face. Maybe you don't know the name, or maybe you do know the name. Yeah. But God has really done amazing things with your platform. Amen. So last time I saw you, I just want to kind of go from like last time I saw you to pick up from, because last time you were here, you told me your testimony, which was amazing.
Oh yeah,
the journey of the testimony was phenomenal. You could go to my YouTube channel or my website ryan-ries.com and find his testimony is just amazing. How you got saved and just coming from nothing. I have a lot of friends that just came from a very crazy background of just coming from the streets, and then God just started doing cool things with you, and this is just like the beginning of like what he has for you. You had twins. Yeah. Recently, well, now they're 2 years old, running and gunning. How's that? For the audience.
They're alive and well, and
yeah, they are.
They're running around. They got a lot to say, and they're either very happy, very sad, very mad, or sleeping.
Yeah. So is it 2 boys, 2 girls, boy, girl?
2 boys.
So you got 2 boys.
Yeah, fraternal boys.
2 fraternal boys. So are they different? Do they seem
very different? Very different. Finley is a little more. He likes people to like see him and and give him applause. But he's very, very smart. Where I would say Salem is kind of a independent. He's just gonna run around. He's gonna play with this and he's gonna play with that, and he's not too worried about what you think about him. And she's just kind of like, hey, just kind of like let me do my thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just leave me alone and I'm cool.
Yeah, and I'm chill. Yeah.
I have the triplets, but I have 2 identicals in the pregnancy, and they're different.
Really?
Yeah, they're different.
Wow, I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, they're different. Yeah. I mean, the same, you know what the same is? The personality is totally different, but the same is they both lose the same teeth at the same time.
That's so interesting.
Because they have the same DNA.
Yeah.
Is that nuts?
Yeah. I saw some TikToks where there's like, they'll put the twins on 2 sides of a wall, and they'll say, do this thing. And then when they do it, they'll both do like the same exact
I'm going to try that. I haven't got that deep because it's been triplets, just been seeing the twins, the identicals working together with the fraternal twin, which is the triplets. So it's been an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
But that's amazing with that. So the twins they're running and gunning. 2 boys, and then how's your wife doing?
She's doing great.
She loving it?
Yeah, she's doing good. Yeah, she's been just taking care of the kids. She's full-time mom.
Hardest job.
So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I can't imagine not. I can't imagine having more jobs than that.
Yeah, it's gnarly. It's gnarly.
But she does have she has some cool side things she likes to do. She likes to get furniture and kind of like flip furniture and stuff like that, which
very cool.
gives me a little more work to do as well because I help with building and stuff like that. But
perfect.
But yeah, it's been fun. I really enjoy being a dad. That's definitely a blessing. You learn I don't know how. I feel like how selfish you can kind of be when you're a dad. Yep. You know, because I'm like, okay, I got to make sure I'm being first. I'm being a good dad here. Yeah. You know,
it's hard. It's an ongoing process of trying to figure out. People always ask me, "What's the balance?" And I'm like, there's no balance. You just keep trying to find the balance. Yeah. And there's never a balance because as the ages, you know, as they get, you know, one. I mean, think about the seasons from like when they were just born, to like 6 months, to like not sleeping through the night, to maybe sleeping through the night, and then the teething. Have they started teething yet?
Oh yeah,
because they're two. So you know, it's like, and then as they get older, you know, now I got my one girl that wants to travel with me all over, and then my other kid's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not getting on a plane. You know, like I don't want to go travel to a concert. Yeah. And then my other kid's like, let's go. Yeah. You know, so it's like now I'm like, okay, now I got to balance. This one's wants to be home more. This one wants to go party. You know, and then my other kid's like, let's go to the skate park. So it's like, where's the balance? Yeah. Now I'm trying to operate with 4 different personalities.
Yeah, mine just got to the point where they're too old to fly for free. So
what's that? 2?
2, yeah. Once they hit 2. So we just did our last trip was to Florida, which was the whole family, and that was the roughest. Because the other ones were like, they fly pretty easily, you know. Yeah. But like when they're almost 2, and they want to walk and talk and play and get around, a flight to Florida is no joke.
On a connection, because you're in Boise.
Yeah, the connection is the hard part. Dude, the first flight is chill. Like whether it's the long one or the short one, it seems like the first flight, they're like, oh, look out the window. But when you take them off the plane and then put them back on the plane,
hey, you are brave. You and your wife are gangster. You know why? I would not get on a plane with my kids at that young. I told my wife, I go, we will die. There is no way, because they're running and my kids are active like yours. You know, they're up and getting around, and you have to sit on a plane with a connection wherever you're going. Legitimately, that's an 8-hour travel day. Yeah, minimum. Yeah, right. Just to get to the airport, the connection, and then landing and get to your hotel or wherever you're going. Dude, you guys are wild. We didn't do that till later. We only did car rides. Really? Like we would drive. Like we're driving 12 hours, but at least we could get out of the car. You know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, you did it. Yeah, it's, and then right now, terrible Tuesday call them, but I call them terrible 3s. And then I think 4s, they're still a little bit terrible, but they kind of, then once they get more independent, that's when now I'm able to travel. Yeah. With them.
Carly calls it terrific 2s.
Terrific, yeah. Terrific,
yeah, but sometimes I can tell her it's terrible.
whatever you want to call it, dude. But yeah, it's funny because you're a multiple. You're a dad of multiples, and I'm a dad of multiples. But it's funny crazy. The conversation, small world. Because everyone that comes up to me goes, like, that has one kid, and you're gonna start getting this because you have twins. Mm-hmm. They see you and they go, are those triplets? And or even if I grow up with 2 of my daughters, they're like, are those twins? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, I actually have triplets, and they're like, how do you do it? I have 1 and I feel like I'm dying. So now that you guys have twins, multiples, only multiple parents can relate to multiples. Yeah. Because everyone else is like, they're like, I think they
do. I feel like we do well. The way that maybe sometimes we trick ourselves into thinking this, but we're like, well, we don't know the difference between 1 and 2.
We don't.
Other than, I need to change 2 diapers, change 2 outfits. But it seems like we can sometimes get more peace because it's like chaotic peace, but because they have someone to play with.
Absolutely. No, it's cool. Yeah.
I think with 1, you might have a child who always wants to play with you. Yeah. Where when
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So there'll be 2, and they're kind of like can vibe. Even if they're not playing together, they're at least like together playing. Yeah. And I think it makes it in my thought process, I've never had one. So it makes it probably easier on them because they don't feel like alone,
Yeah, it's true. And then I told you what they said. I told you at break. I said that when they say you have 3, that throws everything out of whack. So we never knew what it would be. See, 2's like
so you
more.
Started with 3.
2's more peaceful for us.
Yeah.
To have.
Yeah.
But 3 throws everything out of whack. That's why every parent that's listening right now, and we have a lot of parents. I mean, this is syndicated across the United States listening. So there's parents that had 2 kids, and then all of a sudden they had 3, and every parent goes, once we had 3, it threw everything out of whack.
Yeah.
So you're right there. What you gonna do?
We'll see what happens.
We'll see
what happens.
Okay, well that's this is good background to know what's really happening because everyone sees all these songs that are going viral, and your wife's always in them too as well.
Yeah.
I haven't seen your kids. I don't think
people probably like my wife more than they like.
She's
me.
always in. She's either filming or she's dancing or singing along. In the car with you. So that's who she is. She's a mother of multiples and doing a great job, and a lot of cool things. To hear like the background of the artist, because people always wonder, like they see you, anyone on Instagram that are out that has some kind of a platform, they go, well, this is what they do all day. No, you're chasing kids, you're dying on planes. You don't think you're gonna survive through the layover? Like it's real life happening. You know.
We're normal human beings, you know, and then we have to figure out how to constantly make music and do all the other stuff too,
amongst the chaos. You have to try to focus to get the creativity to create music, right?
Well, I mean, living can help you create music too. It's just finding the time to really just because making music, I feel like people don't understand it takes a lot longer than you might think. I feel like you hear a song but you don't understand like how much effort somebody puts into music.
Let's talk about that.
That's why I feel blessed that people listen to my music, because I know there's so many people, and there's been points in my life where no one listened to music, where there's people in this world who are making music, all sorts of music, and nobody really listens. And like, you put out I feel like you can put out a song and people are like, oh, another song, but they don't realize that person just put probably like 10 hours of their life or more into the creation process of this song. And then people are like annoyed that they have to see, oh, another song. Can you get over it or something? But it's like the 3 minutes that it takes to listen to a song compared to the
hours.
15 hours somebody put into creating the song.
It's true. It's true. There's a lot of time that goes along with it. So like, for you, how do you get inspired to create a song? Is it something you're going through in your life, or how do you get these ideas, these little downloads? Obviously, we know that God brings the illumination to your mind, but what sparks a song? Like what has sparked a song even like that you've wrote in the past that has done big things?
It's usually something that I can be passionate about, or first and foremost, it's all will be centered around God, you know, and how God transforms, or how the way that I feel like God is looking at a situation or something like that. My most known song is called Strangers, and it was about, my salvation moment, first time seeing the Bible, first time reading the red letters of when Jesus is speaking and how it affected my heart, and just speaking into that moment and how Christ had that ability to like reach me as I was seeking for truth, to reveal that he was the truth that I was always seeking. And it's like, okay, now how do I embody this into a song? And then oftentimes they can come easily because it's just like telling the story of how it happened. But the hard part as an artist is, first off, storytelling, but then also making it so that it's riding to a beat, so that it's enjoyable to listen.
How do you find the beat that could go? Like, how do you imagine the beat in your head? It's like as you're like singing the songs or you're putting it together, do you imagine a beat that can go along with it?
No, I usually start with the beat. And so I'll find a producer or someone. I'll have people who send me beats or whatever, and then I hear the beat, and I can like almost hear what the emotion attached to it is, and then it brings out that emotion in me, and it'll bring to say remembrance, a story, or remembrance of something that I was going through. This one song that's really been popping off for me is called Anticonic. Right, it's not a real word, but I created the word anticonic, and it's about like how, you know, you look at the world, you see people who are living to be icons, you know, or living to be worshiped. And in reality, you look at their lives and it's like, oftentimes it's just such a mess, or so chaotic, or, you know, I hear stories of certain people where they're like, you know, everybody is looking to me to find peace, but where do I look to find peace? Mm-hmm. You know, so the song, you know, it's just inspired by this feeling of like, hey, I make this music and you may see me and I may get whatever millions of views or whatever followers, but it doesn't like really add value to you. And if you're looking to me as an icon, don't do that. The only person you truly need to look to is Jesus, because Jesus is the whole reason that I've become the person who I am. You know, so an anti-iconic is so heavy. It's I think I'm not as good at like think, oh, this is trap, this is that. I think it's trap.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just going off the beat. Yeah.
I hear the beat and I'm just like, oh, so it's like, I don't need to be iconic. Seen them fall like a comet, tearing down on my idols. Keep the world, I don't want it. And I don't care about validation. That's not the reason I sang. I lift the name that saved the world. That's Jesus Christ. So it's right back up to him.
Yep.
And it goes.
There it is.
But yeah, so you hear the beat and you just start to like, it's just like, oh, what is this song about? You know? And then you just build it from there, you know?
I want to, you said something that, like with the lyrics of the song, how, you know, people look at you. And the song's about, like, not about looking at you. Mm-hmm. You said it's what God did in me. Like, You're looking at what God did in me. And that's the thing is, like, what everyone needs to realize in life, period, is that God created us, right? And what he does in you as he shines his life through you, that's who he created you to be. So you are just the image of God, right? Who he created you to be. And through his power through you is making you all you can be, like who you were designed to be.
Yeah.
And everyone has that opportunity. It's not about looking up and trying to be like you or like me or any of these other artists. It's being connected to the God of the universe, Jesus Christ, and allowing the Holy Spirit to work through you and develop you into your identity of who he created you to be. And then you will shine bright in whatever capacity and wherever he chooses you to be, whether you be the president of the United States, whether you be a gnarly business guy, or whether you be an artist, a soccer player, a teacher, a football, or, you know, basketball. A mom. A mom. Like, God has created our wives that have these kids to be moms for this. Well, I guess you'll be a mom for your whole life. Yeah. But you know, at this time, before they're going to school and stuff, you're at home with the kids. Like, God created you, and he gave you everything you need for those moments, for those years, for those times.
And the only way to truly be able to like to journey through life, like I don't want to say completely correctly, but like in the way that God's planned for you, is by looking to him and understanding your identity in Christ. And I feel like when I first got saved, that was a hard thing for me to understand. My pastor was like, "Well, what's your identity?"
Really?
And
what was your answer?
I'm like, "Well, I'm a Christian rapper." No, that's not your identity.
That's not your identity.
Well, I'm I'm a friend. It's not your identity. It's something there's something that you love. That could be something you're called to be, but that's not your identity. I'm like, well, what's my identity? He's like, you're going to have to figure that out. And I'm like, huh? You know, and, as you go into it, you come to the realization that your identity is you're a child of God. Mm-hmm. You're a child of the Most High, and you should walk as though in all that you do, you know. So then that identity will now go into your calling, will go into to your being a father, will go into the things that you love, you know. And when you know your identity, it's like it's easier to see your passions and easy to see your music, easy to see your life,
because the way when you do stuff, because you're a child of God, so you're reading the Bible, you're obeying it, right? The words are giving us direction how to live, basically. Yeah. And through that, it's God's word, that just oozes out into whatever you do. I'm a skateboarder. So I go, like, if I skateboard, I go to the skate park. Yeah. And the way I carry myself. Like, I'm not going and preaching at everyone, but I'm a Christian, so people are like, you don't cuss. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a Christian. Like, my identity's in God. Yeah. You know, I'm not going to be talking dirty at the skate park. Now, if I created music,
It would do the same thing. Yeah.
Same thing.
I wouldn't talk about selling drugs.
Exactly.
And
So it just
and,
naturally, I have attorneys, friends that own, they have their own attorney office, and they're all Christians. So you know what they do? They go, we are going to do business. And we are going to do legit business, and then we're going to donate money because we know how to make money, and we're going to donate money and fund nonprofits.
Yeah,
because they're Christian attorneys doing good, putting God first in their work, but then they also want to help fund other people that are out going behind enemy lines. And
it's like marketplace ministry.
Yeah. So that's their identity. I'm a child of God, and I'm an attorney, so I'm gonna do legit business, not crooked.
Yeah.
And we know how to make money, so we're gonna help people too.
Yeah, that reminds. I went and I got to meet up with. I think this might have been after. Yeah, this is after the Promised, right? Because we went to the Promised, and I got the opportunity to go out and meet up with David. Oh my goodness, what's his name? The CEO, the owner of Hobby Lobby.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
Yeah, oh, that was amazing. I got to fly out there, sit with them, talk with them a bit, and like that's a part of his story where he was going out, his whole family were like evangelists and pastors, and he felt this calling to what is it called when you have a store, like
a retail store?
Retail. Yeah, he was like, well, I just love retail. I just really love retail. And so he'd go out and he'd be like, oh, I got promoted to this place. And his mom was like, well, what'd you do for God today? Right? And he just kept going through the stuff. And he was just like, but I don't feel like I'm supposed to be a pastor or whatever. I just feel like I'm supposed to be doing retail. And he gets to this point and his business is doing pretty well. Not like crazy like it is now. I think he's the number one donor to nonprofits in the whole entire world. Wow. They're an $8 billion company, and they give away 50% of their profit to nonprofit organizations.
That's amazing.
But what it started with was he went out and he was listening to these like evangelists or someone speak, and they needed finances to help with biblical literature. Right? And as he was flying home, he felt the Holy Spirit speak to him and say, I want you to give $30,000 to them. Right? And he goes, well, we don't have $30,000. How could I give $30,000? Must not have been God, And then he hears again, he was like, you can figure out how to get them $30,000. What if you did $7,000 this month, $7,000 this month, until you get them paid off? He was like, okay, well, talk to my wife. And his wife was like, 100%, let's do this. And he goes through, and right at the moment, they're able to give him the full $30,000. They give it to these people in Africa towards biblical literature. And as they give it to him, these people say, this is crazy. This is a miracle because we were just praying for this amount of money towards biblical literature, right? Wow. And he goes, oh my goodness. And it snapped for him. And he said, this is my ministry. Just as my family is doing this type of evangelism, my business that I'm working in and what I've been called to is actually my ministry. And I've been called not to be an owner of what I'm doing, but a steward of what God has given me, right? So from this point forward, he starts figuring out how much. He that saying, you can't outgive God, right? And then it was like, okay, well, test me in that. So as he keeps going, he's giving to the point where the more they're giving, the bigger their company keeps on growing.
God keeps blessing it, more sales.
Yeah. And then it got to the point where it's like, okay, we need like a cap, because I think he was like trying to double. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So now they got to this point where they're like, okay, we're going to give 50% of our profit away. Wow. And then they use the other 50% to just build more Hobby Lobbies. Mm-hmm. And he takes literally like none to him. He said for 16 years. I know this podcast is like becoming about David, but
it's a good story. This is part of your journey.
Yeah,
so it's a cool story.
Yeah, and he said for 16 years he hasn't taken an increase on his salary.
He just stayed there, and then he
works as a CEO.
Yeah,
and oh man, it was so. Anyways, it's very.
That's an amazing. No, that's a good little nugget story that you just gave right now. You can't outgive God,
Yeah, it's very inspiring.
But I think this is what's key too. Is like, I think a lot of people that want to give, I mean, even like myself, like you want to pray. I like to pray and decide where I'm going to give. Like even with my wife, like for instance, for her, she has different nonprofits that she likes to give to, right? She works as well. So she likes to give to like, she gives to Annie Lobert, which is, we both give to her. She's Hookers for Jesus. So she has an I Am Second film, but she did like prostitution and stuff. And so we give to her. She helps like pulling girls out of prostitution and pornography and all that. And then the Gideon Bibles, we give to the Gideons. My wife likes giving to the Gideons as well. And then the Billy Graham Association to Samaritan Purse. You know what I mean? But you got to find out where your heart.
Yeah, what's aligning
like
with
this guy. He loved, for instance, going back to him. He comes from a family of evangelists, and they realized they need resources. So like his heart was already in that.
Yeah.
So he's like, like God highlight my like. God's like, yeah, you already have a heart for this because your whole family's in it. You're going to help bankroll this stuff. And then he starts seeing that there's more opportunity. So God will show you where to give, and it's like a joyful giver, right? Like I love giving to the people that I'm giving to because it's going to help God, and God's like highlighted these particular people to give to, you know?
Yeah, and then they do that. He has a board, and they all just come together, and they choose where they're going to sow into within their, throughout their year.
Sounds amazing.
Sounds
amazing. That's what me and my wife do at the end of the year. End of the year giving. We go, okay, these are the nonprofits. This is where we want to give to, you know.
That's awesome.
So awesome.
So awesome.
Okay, well, so you got to meet the Hobby Lobby, and that was a cool journey for that. And then that was right after The Promise.
The Promise.
The Promise was an event that in last October I saw you here.
Yeah.
It was you and Derek and Kingdom Ministry. What's it called?
No, so we got me, Derek, Spencer. That's Upside Down Kingdoms.
Upside Down Kingdoms, which is the ministry. And you guys do an annual event in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
And you do it at Calvary Chapel, Boise. And we showed up here, and it was packed.
Yeah, it was crazy. We were blessed to have you speak there.
Always a pleasure to come hang out with you guys.
It was amazing. Head from Korn showed up.
He showed up.
That was crazy.
He showed up.
That was so cool. And I think we had like, it's a free event we throw every year. We're planning it right now for next year. We're going to do it here again. Epic. So that's going to be epic.
Keep it, dude, as you keep doing it in the same place once a year, it's just going to keep building.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to. I think at peak we had like 1,200 people here.
I have the video. I got it on my phone. I have it saved in a folder. I was up top, and I got a video going down. And it was just jumping.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think just I was out on tour, so we had the team really putting everything together. The one thing that we're working on this year is just making sure, like, just getting scheduling just like on point. So, but oh man,
you guys were in Texas though. You had several other bands here because there's a bunch of guys from Texas that after the event I gave them what's up they were leaving, and they were heading.
The Young Disciples were here.
There's a crew,
that's probably my tour crew was with me.
Oh, was that the whole crew?
Yeah, because this was the final stop of the tour. It was like the.
Oh, okay, so that was all of the tour.
Yeah, so it was how we ended it. The Promise isn't necessarily part of the tour,
but you brought the tour for that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. So we had my buddies. Young Disciples were here. Oh my goodness, I'm like.
There's a bunch of guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here.
Well, anyway, we're gonna be going here. We're gonna be going to a break here in a minute. But that event was packed, and it'll be happening again. And people can
September 19th.
September 19th will be the date. So that's the 19th. So that's on a Friday night, right?
Yeah,
Friday
I believe
night.
so. Friday, yeah.
Dude, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. We're doing. Yeah, we've got more. We've got one that hasn't been announced yet called Culture Shock. That's in. July 11th.
Where's that area going to be?
That's going to be in CUNA. So it's going to be our first big CUNA event. People from Boise and everywhere can go there too. But yeah, Culture Shock is about to be really cool. And then I don't know if we're supposed to announce this, but maybe we may or may not be at Summer Splash, Upside Down Kingdoms. May or may not be at Summer Splash with some other pretty cool, awesome artist.
We're gonna go here to a break in a minute because we have a lot more to talk about because we got to go through this whole last 6 months of what's been going on. You've been recording songs. You've been producing stuff. You've been doing some events, a lot of amazing stuff. So I want to go ahead and plug go to my website, ryan-ries.com. There you can discover all the past shows and all the radio stations it's on, all the podcast platforms, which they're on all of them. YouTube, you can watch the video. You can go to the whosoevers.com, which is the movement that we run that does over 100 schools globally a year. Check out all that stuff on the website, and we love you guys, and we'll talk to you guys in 2 minutes right after the break.
More of The Ryan Ries Show coming up. Post your questions at Ryan Ries on his Instagram, Twitter, and or Facebook. Now, back to The Ryan Ries Show.
All right, we are back. I got Kurtis Hoppie in studio. And man, that first half was amazing. We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We talked about
kids, about companies.
Giving, kids, being married, wives having the hardest jobs on the planet.
Literally.
Being a kid. Oh, and identity. That was good, I like that nugget too. We were talking about identity. I like how your pastor was like, well, what's your identity? And you're like, I'm a Christian rapper. He's like, no, you're not.
That's not your identity.
That's not your identity.
Yeah. What happens if
And then you're like, well, what is it? He goes, figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah.
And the answer later on, years later, you go, I'm a child of God.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was years, but
months later or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're at in your faith walk at that time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes people years to kind of figure it out, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes you think you figured it out, but you don't, and you find your identity in a lot of things. And then I think sometimes if you find your identity too deeply in something that's not your identity, God might just take that away from you so you can figure out what your identity truly is, you know?
Yep. No, 100%. Yep. Yeah. He likes to get our attention. Mm-hmm. Get our attention. All right. Well, look, so we ended it with being at Calvary Chapel, Boise for the Promise Tour. Yeah. Your last tour is a big bash, 1,200 people, jam-packed. I was here from the top filming the footage. It was amazing. I always show everyone, I'm like, dude, that event went off. It was amazing. So
let's go.
You're bringing it again back September 19th. It'll be a Friday night, and it's going to be popping. So make sure you guys put that on your calendar. I'm going to tell my team to put it on there too so we don't miss it. Next day is my birthday, so I can't forget it. I'm going to know. Promise is on Friday. Popping off the party. Me and my son's birthday are the same day, so that's going to be the 20th.
Let's go. Yeah.
So with that said, so then from there, what'd you do? So after a tour, you're just chilling out, relaxing, or did you?
Oh, man, after a tour, I'm not going to lie. I get kind of like, I unplug a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in November, December are really like unplug months for me because I have to, my family lives 8 hours from me. So, and I'm traveling with my kids and everything, and we always go up for Thanksgiving. We always go up for Christmas. So it's just a very like, especially after tour, because tour
burns you out.
Oh yeah, it can be tough. It's like so fulfilling, but then at the same time when you get home, you're like, I really just want to spend time with my family, you know, and I really don't want to film and edit content every day
because you're doing that already.
Yeah.
This is what people give. Let's give a little back end so people understand the whole like tour life, right?
Yeah.
Because again, like we were saying, they just see like your reels being like 1 million or hundreds of thousands or whatever. And
or they see the concert.
You're at a concert. That's a moment. Like, how long do you perform? Like an hour?
Yeah, about 45.
That's
to
an hour.
Yeah.
That's an hour. Mm-hmm. Okay. The rest of the time, you're packed in a car with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
You're traveling throughout the night.
Yeah.
You get to your hotel late at night. You're going to sleep. You're waking up, who knows where.
Yeah.
Waiting for the next day to set up. And then you're away from your family.
Yeah.
You're trying to connect in with your wife, your kids. Mm-hmm. It's not as glamorous as it looks.
Yeah.
But God has called you
for sure
to this. This is your call, is to be a light. Mm-hmm. To bring this message of hope to this generation, right?
Yeah.
In your platform space.
Mm-hmm. You have very hard moments. I remember on some tours that I've been on. I remember I was on a tour and it was 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm in a van full of people. There's all the seats, and then I've got someone seated on my right, someone seated on my left, and I'm between the two driver's seats.
You got the middle seat?
So I got the middle seat.
You're like 8 foot.
Yeah. So I got a guy asleep on my right, guy asleep on my left, two driver's seats in the front, nowhere to put your head down, right? Yeah. And I remember just having a moment of like almost hating. It sounds horrible, God wanted to speak to me in this moment of like hating my life in this moment. I'm like, it is 3:00 in the morning. I am so tired. I have nowhere to place my head. This is so hard. This is so hard. And I felt like God started speaking to me. He's like, there are millions of people, artists, people who would die to be in your situation right now. And it was like, this is something that you've been called to do. This is something that this is only a moment of hardship that you get to live this life. You know, and you don't have to go and work a normal 9 to 5 all the time. You don't have to do all these things, and you're just gonna have to go through some hard times. And so every time on tour, in the hard moments, just going back to this realization of like, this is hard, but this is like a miracle that I even get to do it.
You get to do it. You get paid to do it.
Yes.
That's when I used to manage a professional skateboard team. People would be like, I get paid to skateboard.
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. Yeah. I get paid. And here, you know how many musicians and that are in their rooms right now producing beats, writing the lyrics, trying to get some traction. And they would do anything. And they keep going to this dead-end job, and they're just over it. And now here you are. You're actually doing it. Yeah. It is a miracle. Yeah. It's a miracle. And, you know, it's natural. It's just human. Like, it's like you get tired. Jesus. I always like think about this because you're doing ministry, right? We're doing ministry as we're on the road. Yeah. Jesus said, I had nowhere to lay my head. Yeah. Like, he was just cruising. He didn't have like horses, chariots. He was cruising, walking around.
Nowhere to lay his
head.
Through
the desert with sandals on. Think about that. Sandals in the desert, rain or shine. And nowhere to sleep, and they were tired. Dude, they were talking. Imagine talking to people for hours upon. I mean, you do it at the show. It
happens someday.
But imagine like all day, like Jesus. Everyone was like, "That's Jesus. You're not Jesus." No. People were coming out of the woodworks, going across the Jordan River. No, not the Jordan. What do you call it? Across the Galilee River, hearing he's coming, and they're like chasing him along the land to the other side of the lake. Like, it's the model's there. But that's why when you come home,
you just want to kind of
you gotta like
be with your family
because it's almost like a rush. Yeah, you're tired, but then you have these like, dopamine rushes while you're performing. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like,
and then the powerful, you know, like we're seeing people give their lives to Jesus every night. We're seeing people get baptized. We're seeing, you know, just it's just such a blessing. And then sometimes, you know, in the middle of it, you have to make sure to remember how blessed you are to be there, you know,
dude. That's you're in God's plan, and that's why we even do this stuff, right? Yeah, seeing people get saved,
and then you get home, and sometimes because when you're on the tour, it's like happening so quickly that like it's almost hard. Say you do one event, right? You can just take that event in and be like, wow, that event was amazing. That was powerful. This person did this. This person did this. Yeah. But it's like, okay, we need to leave at 4 a.m. Exactly. You know, so it's hard oftentimes to like just take in what God's been doing though. Yeah. So it's like when you get home, it's like your mind, it still hasn't even fully taken in everything that just happened. Mm-hmm. So like you'll go through like a moment of like rest, and then suddenly I feel like it can like all just start to come back of like wow, that was amazing. Yeah. That was powerful. Yeah. Lives were changed. Yeah. And then it's like I want to do it again. Mm-hmm. You know, and as you can just really take in like the power of how God is using the music, is using the testimony, is using the worship, and lives are being changed. And it's like, even though it's so hard, it's like in the long run, I believe that there's going to be people like, you know, standing in heaven, you know, that come up and say, I went to that concert.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
And I gave my life to Jesus that day. Mm-hmm. And like, there's these stories of like the fruit, you know, that these little moments, this hour on stage could truly, you know, change someone's life and change many people's lives, you know?
Yeah. No, I was just thinking about, I was doing a little time check here really quick. I was thinking about the story of, cause you met Head. Mm-hmm. They were playing, cause he has this Christian band, right? I think it's like the Brian Head Welch band. Mm-hmm. And they were opening for Korn in Germany at a military base, and this one atheist got invited to go to see Korn, and she's like an old school like Ozzy Osbourne. She likes all like the old school stuff, right? Mm-hmm. She doesn't know the new metal stuff at all. And her friend was like, he's a military guy. He goes, hey, Korn's playing on the at the military base. Come out and check him out. She's like, who's Korn? Oh, that stuff's stupid. That new metal, like I'm old school. So she goes, anyway, I'll go. So she goes. She sees basically the first Christian band perform and Head singing. Right? She doesn't know Head though. Yeah. She just sees him singing. Then Korn comes out later on. This was years ago. And then Head is now playing in the band, but he's not singing. He's playing guitar in Korn. And she's like, wait, what? Like, what's this guy's story? He's in 2 bands and this and that. And then I guess at that concert, there was a lyric from one of their songs that they wrote on their first album. And it says, I wish God would page me. So she heard that lyric, okay? She went home that night. And then she kept hearing, I wish God would page me. I wish God would page me. She's like, what was that guy's story? So she starts looking up the band and realizes, oh, Brian Head Welch's I Am Second comes up.
Oh, wow.
And it pops up, and then she's like, he's a Christian? What an idiot. They can't believe they believe that crap. And she's just like, just totally, and then next thing you know, my I Am Second comes up after his. And then she discovered the Whosoevers. Just kind of through these like YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So she starts emailing the Whosoevers, and then like one of our corresponders, JJ, was basically answering all of her questions. Long story short, next thing you know, 6 months later, we go to Israel, and she flew in to Israel on the trip just to like, not a Christian, but just to kind of find out what was going on. Me and Sonny from POD ended up dunking her and baptizing her in the Jordan River.
Let's go.
All because of a song that wasn't even Christian inspired.
Yeah.
This was back then. So what I'm saying is, on your trip, your lyrics are actually Holy Ghost filled. You don't even know the damage of those lyrics that they're doing in the enemy's life, in people's lives, leading them to the Lord.
Yeah, and honestly, like sometimes, like some of the most powerful ministry, obviously the events are powerful, but just being on the road and being willing to talk to people that are like just random people at a gas station or whatever. Like oftentimes that's like some of the greatest ministry, because you meet someone and you see them and you can talk to them in this moment. And like the truth is, like, you weren't supposed to be there. You're supposed to be in Boise at home, you know? We weren't supposed to be in this moment at this time. So when you come across somebody and you're carrying the Spirit of God, it's like, hey, this is a divine appointment for this person. And like, and when you're able to like speak that to them, right, as they're in their hardest moment, or you find somebody in these crazy moments and you're able to speak like, dude, I'm here from Boise, Idaho. I'm not supposed to be right here talking to you about this. You know, God sees you and he loves you. You know, I was just out in Amarillo and
Texas?
Amarillo, Texas.
I'm going there. What were you doing there?
Dude, I was doing it was a concert. They did a block party, Christian block party, right? And this homeless dude kind of like, he hadn't been homeless for long, about 2-3 weeks. But he rolls up earlier in the event, and he's like, I don't want to be here, or whatever, and he just leaves. He's like, something just kept on telling me to go back, and he goes back during my set, and he was like, oh, well, I was really kind of liking it, and then I did an altar call at the end and preached the gospel at the end, and he ends up kind of like putting his hands up to give his life to Jesus. You know, and I'm talking to this other person, and this lady was like, hey, I think that guy, you should go talk to that guy. So I go talk to him. He tells me his story, he was going through a really hard time. His girlfriend had gone through this miscarriage, and she blamed him for the miscarriage. And I was able to speak to him. I was like, hey, this is not you. And you know, I'll come against that lie in the name of Jesus. And because I think he was going around feeling like he was, you know, like a murderer, guilt, you know. And he said, he was like, dude, I was gonna take my life tonight. You know, and we were able to help him. He gave his life to Jesus. We were able to get him.
He was going to kill himself that night.
Yeah.
And God brought you.
We got him a hotel for 6 days. Got him 6 days at a hotel. And in the midst of that, creeped up on him again. And then one of the people who helped put together the event, I was able to connect him with him. And now this dude's like serving within the ministry, and like his life has changed.
Dude, see that? That's what I'm saying. But I want to encourage the listeners. This could happen right here outside of your front door.
Yeah.
Like if you're just led by the Spirit, right, and you're in tune with God, and you wake up in the morning and say, God, use me today. These conversations can happen right outside the door. You don't even have to go on tour. But God uses people in their different gifting. If you're going to be working in your community, like, you know, in your city, well, God will use you in your city. If you're going to be traveling, he's going to use you when you're traveling. He uses you wherever you're at. If you're a professional basketball player, he's going to use you in your community there. It's like, you just got to be open for it and willing. Yeah. And about Texas Amarillo, I just got booked to speak out there. I don't know, in about a month or something. But I was telling them they want me. I'm doing their Sunday morning, but they asked me to do like more of a youth driven night the night before, and I go, dude. I told him, I go, tell him that I'll bring Kurtis out with me. That'd be sick.
They probably know me in Amarillo. Amarillo is one of the places I've been to quite a bit.
Yeah, your name, I thought just thought it'd be a cool thing to come just light up the youth, you know?
Dude, I'm always here. Just let me know anytime, man. I love to go out and I love doing ministry, and it's a blessing,
we'll keep the party going for sure. Yeah, so that's also an amazing nugget is being used now. His life has changed. He was living that thing that was spoken over him from his wife or his girlfriend, that it was his fault that she had a miscarriage. Then the enemy gets that stronghold in their life. And think about how many other lies in people's lives. Yeah. That something is said and then they identify with it. They believe it.
It could sit there for years.
That became his identity.
Yeah.
I'm the one that made the miscarriage happen. Yeah. And then God sends you, or a spirit-filled Christian, in to come in and say, God's the giver of life. Yeah. Yeah. You have nothing to do with it, unfortunately. Yeah. So that lie gets ripped down, that stronghold. He gives his life to Christ. He gets filled with the Spirit. You guys give him what he needs. He needs a place to stay, food, and then he gets plugged into ministry, and now his whole life has changed. Yeah. It's like that's what God does. That's his business. It's changing lives. It's
changing lives, you know, and you know, sometimes it stinks that we have to get to rock bottom to realize our lives need to be changed, you know, but you know, try and reach people. There's people in the world that are called to save people who aren't homeless, you know. There's like marketplace ministry people. You know, some of the saddest people in the world can be millionaires. You know,
a lot of people with money. It doesn't make them happy. More money, more problems, right? What rapper said that? It's true though. It's true. It does. I mean, you can only buy like the sickest car, and then you're like, next year, like, I need to get another one, another one. You can only be happy with the hottest girl, and then there's always going to be a hotter girl. It's like, where does it ever end? It doesn't. You know what I mean? So, all right, and then so from there, let's talk about some songs. You got a new song. We got 8 minutes left. You got a new song out called Pirates Cove.
Oh yeah, just dropped. So me and Upside Down Kingdoms. That's me, Derek, Ryan, Spencer Bolio, a bunch of super talented artists, and we just do ministry together. We're actually getting ready to drop a album this year. So we're gonna drop an album this year. We just did like a mini EP, which is called Pirates Cove, and it's got Pirates Cove on it. It's got Sunflowers on it, and it's got Clean Heart on it. And that's all with the guys. And we're hoping to go out and meet up with Greg Laurie and shoot some music video for it. You know, got some cool ideas. I really wanted to make it feel like it's almost was shot in like 1970. You know, like right around the time when everything happened. But it was inspired by Jesus Revolution. We watched the movie Jesus Revolution, and it's just such an inspiring moment. And it's like something that we all thrive to see now. You know, I want to see everyone running and getting baptized. I want to see, you know, and I think that's kind of like where the world is when I look at the world right now. Is like everything has been being pushed so far left that the world's kind of like, well, what the heck is going on?
They're over it.
You know, I'm over it, and maybe this Jesus guy is the way, you know. I was listening to Joe Rogan. You
took it right about,
he's just talking about it too. He's like, man, I think I'd rather go with Jesus.
I'm gonna go with Jesus on this one than the Big Bang.
With the Big Bang, because it was like it's just about how like this.
He goes, I'm sticking with Jesus on this one.
I literally just watched that this morning.
So
it's so cool, and just to see that, like, I just think that's the direction we're going because. What else could it be? This thing of like, okay, well, who created God? So now I was watching this too, where it was like, okay, so God number 2 created God number 1. Right?
Exactly.
And then so who created that God? And who created that God?
The next God.
And then if it kept going in that direction, we would never be created.
It's easier to understand that God just always existed. It just makes sense. You know what I mean? I can't understand forever and eternity, but it's just like, I could deal with that. Like he just always was. Like that's a God. That makes sense.
Yeah, and we just think off of our own understanding of mortality because we are humans. So we were born and we should die.
Yeah.
Right. But we're not God. Right. We're created in His image. So it's hard to understand that God has been, always will be, and He's always existed. But
we have eternity in us, like, and that's like never like we have this our spirit in us that feels like we never want to die, right? Like we just want to live forever, and we will when we take our last breath, and we will be with God forever. No more pain, no more sorrow. We're just here temporary on this earth, going through life and trying to lead more people to an encounter with God and a relationship.
Yeah, I had this random thought just came to my mind of I have no idea anything about what I'm about to say necessarily. But I was thinking, if, say, like heaven and eternity is outside of time, and God lives outside of time, what if our selves from after we die and go to heaven are living outside of time, and we're already there watching ourselves go through life right now?
Oh, like if you're like in heaven, but because you're outside of time.
Because we're outside of time.
But that's already happening.
Yeah, so it's almost like is there ever, if there's no actual, like, so it's like outside of time, so then when does the moment come?
There's so, yeah. I've been tripping on all that a lot as far as like eternity, because my mom passed away about a year ago. And I mean, I remember I was like, just, I go through these moments and I'm like sad thinking about my mom. And then I just remember the Holy Spirit was just like, she's more alive than she's ever been. Yeah. And I was like, boom, that's all I needed to hear. Yeah. Now, like anytime I think about my mom, I just quote that, I'm like, she's more alive than she ever been. And I could deal with that. But you start thinking about heaven, like, I'm like, what is she doing right now? Yeah. Yeah. And if she's more alive than she ever has been. And she was so active and just like, she ran a huge ministry and she was traveling all over the world doing ministry and stuff. And
glory to God.
I'm like, dang, she didn't stop till just like the last couple months of her cancer. She was still like, never missed a day at church the whole time, cancer for 14 years, still traveling to South America. But I'm thinking, man, what is heaven has to just be just out of this,
cool,
literally just out of this world. Like you can't imagine. You read like Revelations of what it looks like and stuff, but like, I'm like, what is she doing right now in heaven? And what's it like? What
worshiping?
Anyway. Yeah, it's gonna be phenomenal. But I'm excited. I'm excited about the whole eternal life, and that's what just to kind of wrap up the show. That's what it's all about. That's what you're doing. You had an encounter with God. You're writing music that is encouraging people, but it's also pushing people to eternal life. And that's basically what you do.
That's the whole purpose of it all. It's if I go on stage and I sing songs and people love me and they love my music and they buy my merch and they do all this stuff, they come to the concert and they leave and they're excited about me, but they failed to understand the goodness of God. They failed to understand the reason why I do everything I do. I feel like I have either failed or they just really missed the point,
Yeah, you know what? People should look at other guys that are platforms, like they should you're my friend. I love what you do. I love what you're putting out, the music and the vibe. But what I'm attracted to in you is Christ in you, and that's just the effects. Yeah, it's like the side effects of Christ in you. It just exudes out, and that's why I'm like, dude, I love working with like. You're led by the Spirit, the music, everything about you is I see God in you. Amen. And that's what they should. But that's what people need to see is like God in us, right? Like people should be attracted to me because of God in me and what we're doing, right? Yeah. And that's really what it comes down. But that's anyone. If you're like I said, if you're an attorney, you're the president of the United States, you're the whoever you are, people. The attraction is Christ in you. That's what they should. That's what they're attracted to. But a lot of non-Christians go, "There's something different about you." Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like my friends will be like they know it's God now, but they're like, you're still like the same. Like you're still skating, go to concerts, but there's something different about you, right?
Yeah, there's like a brightness. Yeah,
I'm like it's Christ.
That has inspired songs too, where this person was like, man, what drug are you on? Like I want to get on whatever you're on, right? And I'm like, I'm not on anything but Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, and
what's that song? Jesus.
That's the song. Yeah. Yeah. Because they would ask, they're like, dude, what drug are you on and how do I get it?
Yeah.
You know, and then you tell them like, dude, I found Jesus and he restored my joy, my peace, my hope. And then they go, oh, well, anything but Jesus, you know? And that's the reality of, at least back then. I think these days people are opening their eyes a little more to the reality of who Jesus is and how he loves. I think it's just really getting past the part of denying yourself, you know?
Yeah. And that's the hardest part. Oh, shoot. We're coming down to the final time. Mm-hmm. It is denial self. Jesus said, pick up your cross and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you're going to lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you're going to save it. What does a man profit if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Is there anything worth more than his soul? The question is no.
Come on now.
The question is no. The answer is no to the question. Yeah. All right. Hey, Kurtis Hoppie, find him. Instagram, TikTok, all the social platforms, YouTube. Go find his music. Download it. It's amazing.
Yes. New song coming out the 30th, May 30th with Futuristic and Breno. I actually haven't announced that anywhere, but it's about to be huge. Futuristic used to be a huge secular artist, gave his life to Jesus, fully sold out to God. And yeah, we're working together. I'm flying out to Arizona to shoot some content.
All right. Well, we got to wrap it up. Go find it. We love you guys. And thank you for joining us for another epic show. Peace.
This has been The Ryan Ries Show. To connect and find out more about Ryan, click on ryan-ries.com. Check us out next Saturday at 9 p.m. for The Ryan Ries Show.